Hi, it is I, Theodore Kirkley. I have noticed things in my life seem to be changing a little bit. I wrote down this list, and it's strange to say that I might be growing because it's just very strange. Like, there are legitimate indicators that I have not grown. I love my addictions. I love them. I love them. And I have like no interest in stopping them. None. Like every time I go to want to stop them, like it's like I'm pulling this rubber band, and at the very end it just snaps, and I just go right back into it. So I don't know how to solve that. I suppose the end of that rubber band is just fear, you know. If I just don't go through with it and I let it snap, and I just let the fear come up, and then and I feel the fear, then I'd probably be better. But at this point, I even refuse to see it that way. Like at most, I've prayed that God would help me to just want to feel the fear just a little bit more than yesterday because I'm just so determined to avoid my fear at all costs. And I'm not even, yeah, like I said, I'm not even willing to intellectually acknowledge that what's going on is I'm experiencing fear when I avoid, when I don't engage in addiction. So that's what's going on in that respect. And then also physically, I am not doing well. Like as far as weight gain, as far as just physically deteriorating, different issues in my body, not doing well. So it is kind of counterintuitive, you might say, that I should write this list, because you might say, well, there's no clear indication that I am progressing. But if I look at my life, it does feel like there's some increase in positive things. And so I just thought I'd come on and share those things. Um, I feel like if somebody was in my situation, and they'd want to know if it's possible to grow, and there is a certain amount of excitement about if these things are really happening to me, then it's really good. And I want to add one other thing to the list, which is I think I'm going to forget it now. Yeah, I forgot it. Maybe I'll remember it. Anyway, let me read the list here. um, the first one is it's easier to receive God's love. Like just this morning I asked for God's love, and I just got it like right away. It's funny because a lot of times I'll ask, and it's just like like flatline, nothing. And so what I'll do is I'll basically beg. I don't necessarily recommend doing this, but um, for the purposes of the experiment and to notice the contrast, it might be a good idea. Boy, I'm like crying and laughing at the same time. Anyway, I'll beg and I'll say, God, please, 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 please. I know I said please 5 times, but what if I said it again? Please, please give me your love, please, 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 please. And then I'll get mad that I didn't get it, and that's good too because it's like that's just the reality where I'm at. So that's. But then today I asked for it, and I'm like, I thought to myself, no way am I gonna get it. And then I asked him like, hey, can I get some of your love? And then I got it, finger snap right away, and I'm like, holy shit, that's so weird. Weird and beautiful at the same time. So that's the first one, and maybe the most profound. And then the second one is I want money less, and I'm more interested in losing my insecurities or dropping my insecurities and my fears. So money is like something that it's like this curse that we all have where we think money will solve problems and we think the law of attraction doesn't really work. And so all I really need is just to have a bunch of money and that'll help me to feel safe and secure and everything. And then I can buy a whole bunch of stuff that make me feel safe and secure. And I just have a little bit less trust in that. Like I've talked about this before, but I regularly engage in fantasies where I just pretend I have a lot of money. Like what would I do if I had a lot of money? And then I just imagine my life, like what I'd do. And usually the first thing is I'd set up a bank account, like a special bank account with special rules that allow me to do something special. I don't know. Suppose when you have a lot of money, like millions of dollars, you got to do special things. I don't know. Maybe that's when you get a trust. I don't know what a trust is, but I suppose I should have a trust. Should definitely have a trust, I guess. And then I would spend $1,800 and pay back my taxes, and then I'd spend $1,000 and fix up my car, and then I'd spend I'd buy a whole lease, or maybe I'd buy a bunch of land. I'd buy a bunch of land, and yeah, and then it trails off, and I don't know what to think from that point forward. And then I think obviously at that point a woman will love me, and a woman will come into my life, and I'll have love, and then I'll feel like, but wait, but I didn't solve anything in my character. Like my character didn't change. I just got this pile of money, and now that doesn't mean that I'll have a happy relationship. And what's the point of even having someone in your life when you don't have love, when the relationship isn't loving? And I start thinking about those things. And then I start thinking about having like what I want physically, like a place. And then and then I realized that that wouldn't necessarily make me happy because you still can feel a sense of like the interesting thing about that question with money is that you can, let's say someone just handed me money, that wouldn't solve my crippling anxiety to do with any sense of responsibility or earning a place in the world or a name for myself. I know that's vain, but yeah, just any sense of yeah, I guess it's like reputational status. Like, oh, this guy did this, and he was able to do this because he did that, and he was able to succeed. And look at that! Wow, that's really great. Like, if I was just handed a bunch of money, which is part of the fantasy, I wouldn't feel necessarily good about it. And then I would think, oh, well, I know how to solve that. I'll just put money into a business. Like, if I want to make a movie, well, now I have money. Now it's easy to make a movie. But the thing is, then there again, it's like, you can make a movie just like a relationship. You could have a relationship, but you might not be happy in the relationship. And I can make a movie. Doesn't mean the movie will be good. My instincts with hiring the right people, or a lot of people I think who have money who don't understand how to use money, just hire a bunch of yes men and women who just tell them, oh, good, yes, let's do that. Good, yes, you paid me money. I will tell you that that is a good idea, and let's go ahead and do that. Keep paying me money. So, like, it's very easy for a project like making movies to break down without proper experience. So, just logically, I guess I'm at a better place where I'm like, no, I don't want the money so much as I want an end to my financial insecurity. Like just feeling so insecure about money, I'd rather just not feel as insecure as I do, with or without money. Can I just not feel so damn insecure? Or I feel like every woman that I'd ever get involved with would probably manipulate me or lie to me or control me in some respect. And if I could feel that maybe that wouldn't happen, maybe there could be a loving woman out there, or I could know when to end interactions with a woman who is manipulating me rather than just allowing myself to be manipulated, because that's in my mind one of the most horrible things is just being a doormat to some woman. Sorry, I know that sounds misogynistic, but it just so happens to be a very real and grave fear that I hold. But like, I'd love to drop that fear. I have more desire to drop that fear than just wanting money. So it's a long time on that particular point. Sorry. Anyway, another one is I'm more interested in feeling my fear. That's pretty interesting. I mean, I lost a job recently and I had a bunch of things to do that day, and I just spent the day breathing and feeling my fear. And at a lot of points, I was just trying to deny it, trying to deny how fearful I was. Like, immediately when I lost my job, fear of my future came up. Fear of what is going to happen to me just popped up, and it was just gigantic, gigantic fear. And I felt like I started hitting away at that, or whatever you would say. And it felt good. And I got into, you know, some grief too. And then I felt fear again. And then I would distract myself away from it. And then I realized that I was distracting myself away from the fear. And then I'd say to myself, no, let's feel some more fear here. And I feel some more, and then I get into some sadness. It's amazing how quickly you can get into sadness once you're willing to feel fear. The other thing I appreciate with what I did was I noticed all the ways that I could try to manipulate the situation when I lost my job to blame the people at my workplace, and that would serve to allow me to not take responsibility for what happened when it is an event that I attracted. And at the end of the day, it's very possible that the reason they fired me was all to do with problems inside of myself. But I think it's very easy for people to go around and say, "Oh, can you believe what they did? You know how terrible what they did was, and they're bad people, right? You agree with me that they're bad, right? And I'm good, right? Can you believe that they did that terrible thing and I was completely blameless?" Now, in full truth, I did do some of that. I did go around and say some of that. So there's more to learn in that area. But I was more contemplative of my desire to do that and more aware of my desire to try to manipulate the situation to to avoid personal responsibility for what happened. And I was more and I like acted to make sure that I didn't do that. So I took steps to not do that, if that makes any sense. So I basically like I didn't like I didn't flame at my boss. And well, there was one time when I did. It was like 2 weeks later, but I didn't call him. I just thought if I saw him, I'd get really mad at him. And then I realized how mad I was, and then not much came of that. But anyway, sorry if this is so rambly, but um, yeah, I don't know. Just keep going here. I'm more sensitive to the projections of people around me. This is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes I'm just way off on this, but I've just noticed like when I walk past people or someone walks into my field of awareness, like my sensory perception, like I notice the instant feelings that come up at that moment, and that's very interesting. And sometimes they're I think they're kind of lying feelings, like I think a certain way about someone because I'm judging them when I'm totally in error in my judgment, and it's all to do with emotional injuries or hateful feelings inside of myself. But still, even noticing that I think is a point of progression, and still quite fascinating. I think I'm losing my time here in this room. Someone might take over the room, so let me speed through the rest here. It's easier for me to tell when someone else is trying to get me to feel bad, like someone around me in the physical, but especially if it's an earthbound spirit. Now, previously, feeling the projections of earthbound spirits, um, it seemed like an impossibility to me. I always feel like, oh, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm bad, I'm very bad, I'm very bad. I just punish myself, and I think that it's nobody around me is like trying to activate this. It's only me because I am bad, just like accepting my own like shame about myself. But now I'm kind of more aware that, oh, somebody might be doing this to me, or somebody might be like manipulating this injury that I have, and I shouldn't listen to that. So I feel like that has actually been quite a major step that I never really felt that I could actually get to that point. And I'm not fully at the point where I can distinguish whether it's someone else or myself. AJ at one point has said that at some point you will, if you progress far enough, you can actually tell when it's somebody else that's like trying to make you believe something, and when it's your own voice or your own injury or whatever telling you something. So I just I feel like that's a slight improvement that has happened. And then three more here. I seem to be more in tune with helpful spirits in the spirit world. Like sometimes I'll feel really good or an insight will come to me and I'll think to myself, I wonder if that's a very kind spirit on the divine love path who is trying to help me. And usually right afterwards, I feel this instant um like full on, like supportful supporting emotion that, oh yes, no, we are here, you can be confident that we're here trying to help you. We love you and we want to take care of you and we want to help you. So that's really really amazing when that happens. Yeah. And then lying to myself and others is more painful. um I think I was driving in the car the other day and I had this moment at work where I was kind of tested, should I lie here or should I tell the truth? And I realized that I'd rather tell the truth, even if it meant people would look at me funny or, I might lose my job because of doing that. I hate lying more than I used to. Now, that's not to say that I have dropped my facade or anything like that, because I haven't. But when I lie, whenever I freaking lie, I feel so bad about it for a long time. And I know that happens and I hate it. And I just like hate it so much that it really makes me like question whether I should lie like every time. And I notice other people don't really care so much. And I think when I talk about it, people think I'm obsessive. And in a way, I guess I am, but I don't think it's obsessive in a bad way. I think it's wrong to lie. I think it's logically wrong to lie if you really think about it or study the issue or consider the issue properly. So yeah, I'm more sensitive to myself when I'm lying. And then the last thing is I have more confidence that good things will happen to me if I sincerely want them to. So I've had a series of events occur in my life that followed a specific process that I could see, and it's hard to explain to other people because it's an individual thing. Like when you notice like an event attract to you in your life, like that moment is powerful and it's hard to explain that. I think at the end of the day, you can only really explain that emotionally, if that's even possible. Um, because how it feels when that happens, it's like a confirmation, you know? When you have something confirmed for yourself, it's really hard to explain that to someone who doesn't have any opening to these kinds of ideas. But and even as I say it, like I'm doubting this really strongly. So maybe there's spirits like coming to me right now that are like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just doubt everything that you just said in the last 30 odd minutes or so? It's all just a bunch of crap. That's kind of like what they're telling me now. But just to push on through here, just like finishing this point, like the moment when you get a confirmation and you notice something happening, something changing, is a very powerful, profound moment. And and then when there's the follow through where you actually get the full thing that you wanted to have, that's also a very powerful thing too. And one thing I've been working on is to not push the process, to not demand that something happens or expect that something happens, or to push people in my life to make sure that that thing happens. And when I feel myself motivated to do that, I actually pull back because I want to carry out this experiment to see if desperation is not part of my attracting the thing that I want, would that help with the thing coming quicker or in a better way, in a better through a better process? Because it's one thing to have like, the Chevy Corvette in great condition versus the Chevy Corvette that is like in horrible disrepair that you have to do a lot of fixing up. So I kind of had this hypothesis that I'm experimenting on, which is if I don't demand or expect or push the process of attraction, then would that help? And so far, it does seem to help a little bit. If nothing else, it seems to help me to see how I can attract something in a more effortless way. Whereas and I think so many other people believe that you have to put so much effort and hard work, damn it, into getting the thing that you want. Like you have to work hard, you know? So anyway, I think there was one other thing that I had just thought of, but as I said, I forgot it. But that's basically the list. And yeah, I'm reluctant to put this out as a video. I'm always reluctant to add more videos to my collection. But maybe I will. I know there's darkness in the room. I like the dark. It allows me to think more. I think people are scared when I study in the dark or do anything because I'm this unknown skulking character who does have a lot of anger in him, admittedly. Another thing that I notice is that animals are less afraid of me. Like I've had more animal interactions, which is really cool. And I love animals more than I used to. Even insects, which is very hard for me to love. I even like snakes more than I used to. I used to be super scared of snakes and thought they were evil creations of Satan. And now I find that I appreciate them more, and I think they're kind of cool. And I think animals really are funny. They're really funny, and that's nice because it's different than thinking that they're just a big pest or they're all pests or something, which I think is a common, like people, especially with insects and snakes and mice and stuff like that, people think they're all pests when they're not. I think they're all like messages, really. Like we're living the wrong way, and here I'm going to tell you, like God is telling us, oh, you're actually living wrong. You should be more in harmony with nature. Do things, build your buildings or build your situation in such a way to harmonize more with the world that I created, which is perfect. The environment I created is perfect, and you're out of harmony with it. So, and here I'm gonna explain to you how you are out of harmony by providing this message. in the form of an animal. You know, so I think you get what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm not saying that I'm progressing a lot because I don't think I am. I still am very, you know, suicidal. Like just my addictions, I think, are evidence of my suicidality because you don't engage in physically destructive, physically harmful addictions daily without having some, suicidal ideation. So, for me it's obvious because I'm bigger, you know. But for other people, if you smoke a lot or drink a lot or, you know, do a lot of marijuana or something, like people, especially here in New Mexico, people, and when I was in Colorado, everybody thinks marijuana is medicinal, but it's not, man. Like people who are on a lot of who use a lot of marijuana, to me, they wither. Their spirit is withered. That's my observation. I could be wrong, but you know, like this one guy, he said I have to do it because if I don't, I'd be anxious all the time. And yeah, that's obvious, like fear that he's getting away from, and I can't blame him because that's what I do. But he's also super mad all the time, and he like bursts. I had to stop talking to him because whenever I pointed something out, because it got to a point where you know his well with him he would just talk to me and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and I wasn't allowed to interject or share a point that I just thought of or any of that. When I did, he burst and out at me in anger, and he thought that was okay, nothing wrong with that. And I couldn't keep going with him, but like I tried telling him, yeah, like dude, you're really angry, you're really mad, and he would say, oh, you're trying to control the conversation, you're trying to control what I say, and so just complete denial. So but that's just one example of someone that uses marijuana. So I don't think he's just using marijuana to avoid his anxiety. I think it's also to avoid his anger. Anyway, I went on a tangent there at the end, so I apologize, but I hope this is meaningful or helpful to some people. These are things that I've noticed, and I'm not 100% willing or confident that I can completely verify every single one, but it just there seems to be in my own judgment of my own life and circumstance, there seems to be a delineation point, a point of distinction between where things were and how things are going. And, you know, I can't say until someone who's in a better position to myself comes down and says, "Hey, Thea, no, you are progressing." It's very hard to find those people. Like, it would be great to if there was like a referee that you could go to, you know, you could ring, you could call somebody and say, am I getting any better? They say, yeah, so you're getting 0.75 uh, points better than you were before. Good job. And I'd be like, yes, awesome, sweet. I think it's really important to know when you're getting better. But then there's always the fear that, you could be completely off. And I could be completely off. So this could all be like delusion, honestly. And if it is delusion, that's very sad because I think I'm getting better when I'm not. And then finally, I would say again, like physically, I don't feel like I'm getting much better. So maybe that, again, is more evidence that, nothing is really changing. But I think the real change is when I actually really want to feel fear, you know, and I start feeling fear. Yeah, that I think would be a major difference. Like I've been praying, I keep going here, but I've been praying for the desire to feel fear, and I've been praying and asking that it becomes something that I'm excited about, like to actually want and be motivated to and be like, oh man, I haven't wanted to feel the dark edge of fear for so long, or I haven't been able to fear, there's something gnawing at me and I don't want to deal with it. Boy, that would be, if I could just get into that, that would be really exciting and and a major shift, paradigm shift. Like if I could just go there, if you could actually get excited about processing your emotions, I think that would be a major turning point for me anyway. I feel that it would be a major turning point. So I don't know if I'll get there. But I think the other thing that I heard from AJ recently is that it, or maybe it wasn't AJ, but it was someone channeling, a celestial channeling through somebody, Ramtha, I believe. He was saying that you don't need to get it all today, and don't think you can get it all today. So that's one thing I'm trying to appreciate more is that it's not going to happen today. Like you can have probably a major profound moment, and if you do, like if you have a major profound moment right now, or at some point today or tomorrow or in this week or in the next month, like you're gonna feel that. That's gonna be powerful, and then later you might second guess it and doubt it. But if you have enough of those, and if you keep going in that direction, saying, I want to feel more, I want to get into these things, I want to deal with my problems, I want to grow, and yeah, then you can start noticing changes over time. That's what I believe. So, boy, this was a rambly video. I wonder if any of that came through. I wonder if I, I think at most I have to hope that like things are articulated to you subliminally at the very least, like because it's hard for me to be like very structured in what I say. I don't know if this was very structured, but you know, I could have just not said anything, and that might have been better. But hopefully, this will find the people that need to hear it. So hopefully, you're one of those people, and I'll end it there.